You want investors for your next film production? Here's how to use taxes to position your project to make it a no-brainer for investors. Your creative genius deserves the same precision behind the numbers.
Welcome to Let's Get Fiscal, hosted by Anastasia, Myiesha, and Danielle.
Part of the women-led team at Coterie Tax.
From smart tax moves to cash flow strategy, we decode everything it takes to run a thriving creative business
so you can scale with confidence and sleep easy at night.
Press play and let's grow your business.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back. We're going to be talking about a lot of different state credits that we can use for our film productions.
Yes.
Okay.
And a lot of it is, we've talked a lot about what you should do for your business to decrease your taxes for your business specifically and your taxes. But also, how do you take the tax law and have it apply to someone else's taxes? Because yours are already completely optimized. You know, you're at your max. But how can you then turn to the people around you and say, hey, I have this idea that will help you on your taxes. And the result benefits you as well. So you're creating a symbiotic relationship with these people. And a lot of these things everyone already knows about, but it's just making sure that you are identifying that and actually calling that out when you're looking for investors and talking about some of the different ways, because investors, they want to see, where am I getting a return? It's an investment. They're trying to make their money work for them. So if you're able to utilize tax law to do some of that lift, then it gives you a little bit more freedom to really focus on the goal and the heart of your production instead of, you know, the monetization part of it that sometimes isn't nearly as fun.
Makes you more appealing to invest in as well.
Right. And then also too, it will make a little bit more sense when you're having to travel out of state for some of these productions. And kind of why some of these states are becoming big hubs. You know, because I know being on location for 3 months can be a little bit draining, being away from your family and then only focused on that and having to find housing. So understanding some of the reasoning why a larger production company might do that also helps you understand what's going on. And then you can utilize some of that, like I said, for your dream project to help you get that off the ground. Because sometimes, you know, maybe you're 90% of the way there for your production budget and you need that other, you know, just that small
little
bit to get to the rest of the way. So really, when we're talking about negotiations and things like that, it is all about how you're positioning things. And even when you look at brands, if they're positioned in a certain way, they'll get a larger audience. So being able to take advantage of something like this and have it be at the forefront of the decision-making process instead of it being kind of on the back burner will incentivize more people. And then again, you'll be able to expand your audience. And especially in film credits, it's a weird thing to say, but a lot of tax strategists, it's a big strategy that they use for some of these high income earners. And there's even brokers that are, you know, working for theater productions and film productions to try to match them up with investors that are specifically looking for some of these tax credits. So knowing that that market is even out there can be really, really, really helpful when you're trying to get that dream project off the ground. So really what ends up happening is you have a couple of different states that provide film credits. Obviously, the list is growing and it changes.
We do some major ones, right?
Right. So, I mean, I want to talk Georgia is a nice, really easy one. So I'm just only going to do a couple of those states so that it's easier math-wise.
We love a good easy math project.
And kind of talking through some of the reasoning and the ideal investor. What is the market that you should be positioning this project to and who is going to really benefit from it so that you get a higher acceptance rate of your...
Always a positive.
Yep. So one of the things is in Georgia, they'll give you a 20% tax credit, but they'll give you an extra 10% if you advertise that you did it in Georgia and you put the peach logo in there and stuff. So I'm going to just use 30% because, I mean, a lot of times, you might as well use that. So Georgia will give you a tax credit, and I'm going to use Georgia specifically because the tax credit in California, it's not going to be considered income versus New Mexico will give you a 40% tax credit, but it is going to be considered income in California. So you have to take that into account, and then you have to wait until production is done. And there's a whole auditing process. And 18 months later, everybody gets their check. So it's
to make a bump.
Right. It's a little bit more legwork than let's just put a peach in the credits. So that's why I really just wanted to focus on Georgia. But like I said, there's a lot of other states that are giving tax credits specifically for these film productions so that you're going on location because they're recognizing you have to bring a rather large crew there. They're going to stay there for a couple of months, all of that fun stuff. And then, some of the most beautiful places in their state are going to be advertised and things like that. So in Georgia, they'll give you the 30% tax credit. And so the tax credit, you're like, okay, well, the investor is in California and this tax credit is for Georgia taxes, but they don't have taxes in Georgia.
Yeah.
So the thing is, you can sell the tax credit to another business. So that's also cool. A big thing is there's kind of like a little market for buying and selling tax credits.
Okay.
Yep. It's kind of like selling gift cards. You know how people will sell a $100 gift card because they're like, I am never going to go to Forever 21. That is way past me. So they'll sell a $100 gift card for maybe $80. And then it makes sense for you to pay because then you get kind of like that automatic extra 20% discount. So the same thing happens with businesses and tax credits.
So interesting.
Because again, if you can sell somebody a tax credit and they get a 10% discount, then they're getting 10% discount on their taxes. So you might as well do that, especially if you're in a high tax year. So that allows an investor in California to have a Georgia tax credit and then get cash. Yeah. And they get cash pretty quickly from that. And normally the tax credits in Georgia, I mean, they're going for like between 85 and 92 cents for every dollar. So again, I'm just going to say 90% of what
making it an easy math problem.
I'm just going to not. So when you have an investor that invests $100,000 into your production spends all of the $100,000, then that investor will get that 30% tax deduction that they then sell for 90%. So then they're getting, $27,000 back off of their $100,000, and you still are in the middle of production. Yeah. You haven't even released anything. You haven't gone to any of the film festivals to try to gain traction or tried to sell the script or anything. You haven't done
they're already benefiting before at the end of this. Yeah.
Right. They've already gotten back 25% of their money. And when you think, a lot of like indie and smaller productions, what are the chances that a lot of them are going to be making, millions and millions of dollars? It's a really good way to differentiate yourself from maybe one of the other productions because you say like, this isn't a loss leader. You are getting money back. Yeah. So not only do you have that tax credit that comes into play, but if you have an investor that has passive income, because they're not going to be actively participating in your film production. They're not going to be on set every day. They're not going to be making decisions for the direction of the production or anything like that. So it's all going to be considered passive income. If you have an investor that is investing in real estate, which is also a passive activity, maybe somebody who has an apartment building, or I've seen where you have a developer in LA. And so they can take down the current building that's on the lot, build a fourplex, and then now they have 4 properties. And then because those properties, they built them, then the purchase price is a little bit lower. So it's a faster track for them to get income off of this passive activity. So then they have all of this income. and they need something to offset it. So this film production, because they're not on set every day, it's going to be passive, just like their rental activity, and the two of them will wash out. So now they get a $100,000 tax deduction. And if they are in California, they're in the highest tax bracket. That's 35% on the federal level, 9% on the California level. So roughly 45%. And that's $45,000 that they're getting back on their taxes, plus the original $27,000.
Yeah.
So now we're already close to $75,000 in the first year that they are getting back from their original investment. And you haven't even gone into editing.
You haven't finished anything yet.
Right.
You have this would be a great way to sell it of hey, I know what's going on. I know how to use this tax strategy to benefit you if you invest now into this. Right. Yeah.
And then when you think about, okay, the investor wants a return on this project, now you only have to return $25,000 instead of $100,000. So like I said, that means that you have a little bit more freedom to make decisions that are really core to your belief system versus if you had to make decisions based on monetization.
Yeah, how to get the most amount of money out back. Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
So finding an investor that has a large stream of that passive income that needs to offset it, that's going to be a really great
fit for your production.
Yeah, potential investor that you would be looking for. So somebody who is that high income earner, they're investing in real estate, they're going to be perfect for this strategy. And then even on a lower level, if you have a friend and they decide to give you $10,000, they won't be able to take that $10,000 deduction in that first year. But when the production sells, or if, you've decided to completely abandon the project after a number of years, they'll be able to get the deduction then.
Oh, that's nice. Okay. So there's no real lose situation for them for that.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of timing. Do they get that full deduction from their investment today? Or do they have to wait a little bit later? But again, that's another kind of stopgap where you're saying, okay, if this really isn't a blockbuster and crazy successful, and maybe they only make back 25% of their original investment, $10,000, that's $2,500. Again, they get the 30% tax credit, so that's $2,700. And then when you've abandoned it, they get the other 25%. So now you've basically just about given them the original investment back.
Yeah.
And one of the really big reasons why I like to bring this up now is because of the administration changes.
Yeah.
There are a lot of productions that have certain messaging that are no longer eligible for grants. So things like if you are heavily focused on LGBTQ plus awareness or female-driven productions, minorities, and, all of these things are really super important stories that need to be talked about. And they're also productions, business owners that need that additional push to get out into the industry because they are so underrepresented. So if you find someone that is really super passionate about, getting the Native American story out there and what it's like, and, there's a lot of different things, but being able to push that, they wouldn't be able to get federal grants right now.
Yeah.
And then because federal grants are so decreased, getting even a regular grant is going to be so super competitive.
Yeah.
So if you find an investor that has a bit of money, that has the passive income, that also aligns with your beliefs, instead of them taking $100,000 and funding maybe, a charity that's built to further this same message.
Yeah, exactly.
They can fund your production that has the exact same goals and the same messaging. But when they're putting $100,000 into the charity, they only get the tax deduction. And there's, certain limitations and all of that things. But let's say they were able to take the full charitable deduction, that's $45,000 that they would get back. You're able to give them back an extra 30%, which is almost, you're pretty much doubling, and you have the same goals and you're in alignment with what you are doing. So, I mean, especially as these productions are getting a little bit harder and harder to find funding, it's really super important that you are positioning yourself in a way that makes the production really investable. And maybe putting that message at the forefront and saying, okay, this is what we're focused on. This is the goal and this is the message of the production. And here's what we're trying to increase empowerment. Or, I've seen some charities that are really big on female-led producers. So if you have a team that's like really heavily female-led or, minority-based, they're investors that would already be investing in causes like this. So being able to make sure that your production aligns with that and you're making that known to people. And then you're able to tell them, hey, you can do everything that you want to do, but now you get additional tax savings here. So it
makes
actually
you look really good.
Right. Because you think, okay, $100,000, if they get that extra 30%, now they're able to basically double what they were able to do previously. And continue furthering these missions that
they believe in and everything. That is amazing. It just seems to be like making sure that you know it in advance when you're putting it out there. So like when you're pitching, like, all the benefits so that you can then make them know that these things are like possible and whatnot. Right.
Because a lot of it, like I said, it's all about negotiation. So if you are able to make it very clear that you are in alignment with everything that they are trying to do, that they would like their money to be doing, whether that's earning more money, or
supporting something they believe in,
then that will be really super important. And it's a really great way for your production and your passion project to really get off the ground and get the funding that you want. Because again, a lot of the grants and things, it's going to be really difficult. So, and like I said, a lot of the cities and states, they're already starting to feel the crunch. And you don't have to do any of the grant writing.
Hey, that's something. Yeah.
So it's a great example of how, yes, you want to focus on taxes to lower your own tax liability, but also recognizing that you can use tax law to benefit your company in other ways. So that indirect decrease of another person's tax liability can help you incentivize others to give more towards your production and get that kind of off the ground.
Amazing.
So it's definitely worth looking into. I mean, obviously there's a few more costs associated with going on location and what time of the year. I don't know. Georgia has some weird rodent problems.
So. I didn't even know what the rodent problem. I was just the humidity part where like the air is wet and like the AC is wet. Everything is wet.
But New Mexico has some.
What's going on in New Mexico?
No, but
you're talking about the credits. I was like, what did they got rodents too? Like, okay.
So, but it's definitely one of those things that you want to layer into your plan of how you are going to monetize your production and why investors should be investing in you versus another production, because another production could be in the same area, but if they are not positioning themselves in the right way to make sure that this is known to their investors, some of them, like I said, will already know that, but some of them may not. And then
that gives you the leg up of like, hey, I know how this can benefit you if you invest in me.
Yeah. And I mean, if you have somebody that, says like, you'll get your 75% return in the first year versus someone else who just says like, oh, we have this great monetization pathway. So after development and, production.
2-3 years. Down the line.
It makes a difference.
Of course.
Not calling that out that there's this additional benefit. So
that's amazing. People should definitely use that.
So I'm really big on just making sure that I don't know. To me, it's really important that a lot of these stories, especially today, are out there.
For sure.
Because there's a lot of really incredible things that have come from people describing what their life is like and addressing some of these major but controversial topics. And it has really changed the way that we view certain aspects. So making sure that we're continuing that and we don't have this like culture void.
Continue to support.
So utilizing the tax law and tax credits in certain states is really going to be helpful in making sure that we don't lose out on so many voices.
Oh, so nice.
So that is another way that we can utilize tax law to be able to further your goals and your dreams. And so if you have any questions, feel free to put a comment below or send us a message and come and chat with us.
Bye, guys.
That's a wrap on Let's Get Fiscal.
Ready to stop guessing and start saving? Click the link in the show notes.
Grab your consult and let's make your business work for you,
Not the other way around. You've got this.